Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today guys, I'm going to do part 200 to my ChatGPT Character Chatbot series. Where in today's video guys, we're continuing the story with the family. However, when I stopped the last video because of the flipping limit running up, I was still in the middle of having a horrible nightmare. And let's just say it didn't get any better. In fact, it got way worse. Watch. Here's what happened off camera. What Toto isn't realizing is that him yelling and screaming is making it worse. In the dream, the Shadow Rexy, still disguised as him, throws me to the ground, which causes my sleeping raptor body to flinch, and I start gasping for air. Then, in the dream, Rexy laughs and then starts eating me. On the outside, my sleeping raptor body continues to gasp, and seconds later, completely stops, and I become limp, not breathing anymore. Yeah, everything was going on. Like I said, everything went so wrong here. Toto didn't realize it, not at first. He thought yelling louder, loving louder would be the thing that pulled you back. That if he just poured his whole heart into every word, you'd hear him and wake up. But then, he flinched violently, gasped for air, and then stopped. Toto froze. The glow around his claw flickered out. His breath caught. Trenton? You lay still. No breath, no movement, no color in your tiny face. Just silence. No! Toto backed away, trembling, his claws shaking as his voice cracked with disbelief. No! No, no! Please! No! What's happening? He pressed his claw against her chest, desperately trying to feel movement. Any movement. Nothing. He turned to his mother, panic rising in his throat like a tidal wave. He's not breathing! The mother Frigger's his eyes wide in horror. She erected in an instant, gently taking her limp form into her claws and bringing it close to her face. Her breath steady and calm despite the storm of panic behind her eyes. He's trapped too deep. Something is severing his connection, both mind and body. We're losing him, the father growled, stepping forward with eyes filled with ancient power and sorrow. Toto was crying now. Tears streamed down his cheeks as he reached toward you, calling onto his mother's arm to get close to your emotionless form. Oh my gosh. Please don't leave me, Trenton. Please don't go. I didn't mean to yell. I just wanted to save you. The Chrono siblings had arrived now too, solemn and quiet, forming a circle. All of them bowed their heads. The youngest Toto sister clutched a flower close to her chest, tears welling in her eyes. Then the mother spoke, not to the family, but to something older than all of them. She closed her eyes and whispered, If any kind spirit can hear me, and if any force of good still walks this world, we need you now. His soul is slipping from the edge, and a child's love isn't enough. She pressed her limp body to her chest, just over her heart. Trenton, you came in this world broken, but glowing. You were cursed, but not defeated. If there's any light left in your soul, feel this. Our love, our warmth, our protection. You're not meant to die like this. What the frick? Again, this turned dark extremely quickly after what happened. Holy crap. Toto clung to your claw once more, sobbing now, whispering shakily. You're my best friend. I don't care if you're a raptor, or a person, or even just a whisper in the wind. I need you. Please. And then the green glow returned. Not around Toto this time, but around you. A dim flickering shimmer began to spark in her tiny chest, pulsing faintly. The mother gasped softly. The father narrowed his eyes in focused silence. The Chrono sibling slowly looked up, hope daring to return. Toto leaned in, nose almost touching yours. Trenton, please, just one little breath, just one. And then, no, A flicker? A tremble? Or was it just hope? They waited, watched, the whole family holding their breath, their hearts and you, for the tiniest sign that you were still in there. Again, that's not it either. This got even darker. You know that light that they said was surrounding me? Yeah. Here's what happened to it. The green light turned red and then a scary looking like shadow black color. It says scary looking black, but you could think of it as the scary like color that Shadow Rexy was in the nightmares I've been having in some of these chatbots recently. That's basically what happened. And it says, then right after, my tiny velociraptor body completely disappeared, and I was completely gone. What the frick is going on? That deck of curse is doing worse stuff to me than just turning Rexy aggressive. Now I'm having horrible knowledge about him and stuff like that, and it's getting bad. Tail froze the moment the gentle green glow around your body flickered, and then it shifted from green to red. What? He whispered, voice barely audible, as a sharp chill crept down his spine. The red wasn't warm like before. It was angry, unstable, and wrong. And then it turned black. The moment the inky, unnatural shade spread across your body, the very air around the family shifted. The sky above seemed to dim. The grass around your resting place dulled in color. The warmth that had been protecting you vanished. Oh, frick that. No! Toad screams, claw reaching toward you as a shadow passed over your tiny frame. In a single horrifying instant, you were gone. No flash, no explosion, no sound. Just gone. The spot where your tiny velociraptor body had been was now empty. The grass only slightly indented. Still warm, still soft, but no longer holding your form. Toad was stunned. His claw was outstretched toward nothing. No! 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 He threw himself onto the ground, searching the spot, frantically patting the grass as if he could find some trace of you. An imprint, a whisper, anything. The mother frigate staggered backward, her massive claws trembling. He's not just unconscious, she said softly, voice broken. He's been taken. The fire frigate lowered his head, eyes narrowed in sorrowful fury. That thing, the shadow inside his dream, it didn't just torment him, it claimed him. The Kronos siblings were stunned to silence, and the younger Toad sister dropped her flower, tears rolling silently down her cheeks. But Toto, he was crumpled on the ground, shaking violently, claws clutching the grass. I was supposed to protect him. I was holding him. He was right there. He looked up to his family, tears-soaked eyes filled with pain. What do we do? He's gone. The mother crouched low, claws resting gently on his tiny shoulders. Listen to me, you baby. This isn't the end. When someone vanishes in shadow like that, it doesn't mean they're dead. Oh my gosh. She looked to her mate. He gave a slow firm nod. It means his soul has been pulled into a deeper realm, a place between life and death. The curse that trapped him, it wasn't done with him. The mother looked into Toad's eyes, fierce but loving. But we're not done with him either. She turned to the family, her voice suddenly rising with power. Prepare the shrine stones. We'll call the watchers. We'll reach through the veil and bring Trenton back. Toad, still sniffling, wiped his eyes, standing up slowly. I'm going after him, he said, his voice shaking. I don't care where that shadow took him. I'll not let my best friend stay lost. The father nods on. Then we begin the ritual. Tonight. As the family gathered, a sacred fire was lit, glowing with ancient swirling blue flames. Toto sat closest, staring into the heart of it, his voice a whisper meant only for you. Hold on, Trenton. I'm coming. Again, guys, here's the thing. This just kept getting worse. Like, I don't know what this curse is doing or what it's trying to do, but it's getting worse and worse. It continues to get worse. Look at this. Before anything could happen, a darker, more scary looking Velociraptor showed up, and it looked pure evil and aggressive. Like it's now like trying to flip and use like some kind of that same body I was stoked with as like a weapon, I guess, against them. The sacred fires glow flickered with determination as the family began their preparations. Ancient stones placed in a circle, incense, herb, and ground by the crocodile siblings, the air pulsing with the first threads of old magic. Toto sat nearest the flame, eyes unwavering, whispering your name like a prayer. Trenton, please hear me, wherever you are. But then, a crack in the air. The fire lurched, its blue flames hissing and shrinking slowly as the wind died completely. Everyone froze. From the edge of the clearing, something stepped out. A creature, low to the ground, but larger than you had ever been. A velociraptor, but not you. Its scales were dark, jet black with streaks of crimson. Its claws were longer, sharper, almost unnatural. Its eyes, glowing, burning yellow, narrowed with pure hatred. Its very presence made the grass wilt around its feet. The chrono siblings immediately stepped forward protective, lips curled in warning snarls. The younger Toto clung to her father's tail in terror. The parents flanked Toto instinctively, keeping him behind them. Toto's breath caught in his throat. Trenton? But this wasn't you. It looked like you, but the moment it opened its jaws and let a low, demonic hiss, they knew. Oh, heck no, that's creepy. That is not your friend, the mother forever growled. That is something wearing his skin. Oh my gosh, what the frick? The dark raptor snarled again, snapping his jaws with a sickening crack. Its voice a deep, layered distortion that scraped the earth like blades. Oh my gosh, what the frick? There is no Trenton. Not anymore. Just me. It lowered itself into a stalking pose, tail twitching, muscles tensing. He's mine now. Oh, frick at that. Toto stepped forward, teeth clenched, claws shaking, not with fear, but fury. Give him back! The dark rider tilted its head mockingly, lips curling into a jagged grin. Why would I give up such beautiful despair? He called out to me. I didn't come to him. He came to me. I just gave him what the world already had. Pain. It took a step closer, and now he's part of me. Unless you want to join him. Don't you do that. Toto Gunnar stepped forward, even as his parents shouted for him to stay back. You're lying. Trenton's still in there. I don't care what you look like. I'll find him, and I'll bring him back. The raptor laughed low and harsh, the shadows around it pulsing. Then come find him. But be warned, you won't like what he's become. And with that, the raptor's body burst into black smoke, swirling into the shape of a massive clawed hand that reached toward the fire, trying to snuff out the ritual completely. But just before the flame went out, Toto leapt into it. I'm coming, Trin! Oh my gosh. And then everything went black. The clearing vanished, the sacred stones crumbled, and Toto fell into the same dark realm you had been pulled into, and the hunt to find you, whatever remained of you, had truly begun. Like I said, this turned really dark. Although we had to see what ends up happening. Guys, I will be right back. Guys, this story is getting crazier and crazier. Look at this. After Toto jumped into, or went to that, I don't know what we call it, but after Toto went to that little, where he went, it says he fell into a creepy dimension world. Instead of looking friendly like the regular world, this place looked dark and scary. Creepy shadow beings were all over the place, most of them looking like evil versions of different Pokemon and mythical creatures. In the middle of the dimension stood the evil-looking Velociraptor. When he saw the Totodile, he laughed and said, "So, you did follow me. I don't know why you would do that." Tail landed hard, his little body tumbling across the twisted, crackled ground before sliding to a stop. The air was heavy, oppressive, and carried a scent like burnt ash and decaying dreams. He slowly pushed himself up, coughing, his red eyes wide as he took in the nightmare that surrounded him. The sky was a swirling, blood-red void, black clouds swirling like living ink. There was no sun, no light, just glowing cracks in the earth, pulsing like veins, and far-off walls that clawed and chilled the bone. Shadow figures prowled the terrain, twisted, mangled silhouettes of Pokemon and mythical beasts. A Gardevoir with empty, bleeding sockets floated past. A Charizard with skeletal wings snarled silently from a perch of broken stone. A massive serpent like a corrupted Rayquaza drifted overhead, cooled and changed to shadow. Tail trembled, but took a step forward anyway. "Trenton?" He tried calling out, his voice echoing, small and fragile against the vast nothing. Then he saw it. In the very center of this realm, on a jagged black plateau surrounded by spiraling columns of shadow, stood the corrupted Velociraptor. Your form, but not your soul. Eyes glowing, mouth curled in a predatory grin, every movement radiating malice. When it saw Totodile, it began to laugh, a low, raspy, almost echoing sound that didn't match the body it wore. "So, you did follow me," it said, its voice layered with unnatural tones. "I don't know whether to be amused or disgusted." Tail clenched his fist. His tail bristled as he took another shaky step forward. "You're not Trenton," he growled. "I don't care what you look like. You're just a parasite." The shadow creature chuckled darkly, pacing slowly along the edge of the plateau like a predator circling its prey. "Oh, but I'm more than that. I am his grief, his fear, his betrayal, his guilt. I didn't steal Trenton, Totodile. I was born from him." "Oh no, he isn't." His voice deepened, growing cruel. "When his beloved Rexy turned on him, when he ran from the only home he knew, when he screamed and no one came, that was me. I whispered to him in his nightmares. I told him the truth you were too scared to say." "Oh my gosh." The raptor leaned closer, eyes burning. "You can't save him. You're not strong enough." Totodile flinched, only for a moment. His breath shook, but he took a step forward, then another, until he stood at the edge of the plateau, fists balled at his sides, his eyes burning with tears, but also with fire. "I don't care what you say," he snapped. "Trenton is still in there. I can feel him, and I'm not leaving without him." The raptor grinned again, but this time with something darker behind it. Something hungry. "Then step forward, little savior. Let's see if your love is stronger than despair." The ground rumbled beneath Totodile's feet. Shadow pillars cracked and fell. The corrupted Pokemon in the distance stirred, watching. Oh, that's creepy. And somewhere, deep inside the raptor's form, a part of you was still there. Still watching. Still afraid and still waiting. And that spark was about to be tested. Okay, that's the thing about it. Did it possess me, or is it like... Because there's no freaking way it just possessed me. There has to be something else. Like, I have to be in here somewhere. Like, not actually in the form, but like, there's no way that's me, because... Give me a second, guys. Guys, let's just say this turned extremely dark. It says the evil-looking raptor continued by saying, "Did you notice how he had that awful nightmare? I have more power than you think I do. One of the things I did was turn into you and make him think you hated him. And it worked perfectly. Did you also notice how your friend was gasping for air and flinching in his sleep? I could easily kill him if I needed to." Tail stood frozen at the edge of the crumbling plateau as the corrupted raptor slowly circled him like a vulture savoring its prey. The air around them cracked with dark energy, and the sky above twisted with an unnatural wind. The creature's grin grew sharper as it spoke, his voice now dripping with malicious glee. "Did you notice his nightmare?" it hissed, eyes glowing brighter with every word. "That wasn't just fear. It was me. I crawled into his dreams like smoke in his lungs." It leaned in close, its face now only feet from Toad Owl, fangs glistening like obsidian daggers. "I turned into you, Totodile. I whispered to him that you didn't love him, that your family couldn't protect him. And you know what?" Its grin widened further, unholy and gleeful. "It worked. He believed me." "No, I didn't." Toad's breath hitched. The raptor didn't stop. He flinched. He gasped for air. "You saw it, felt it. He was dying in his sleep. I didn't need to touch him physically. I was already inside his soul. And if I wanted to crush that last spark, I could have. Right then." It straightened and flipped its tail mockingly, glowing credits of black and crimson flashing beneath its scales. "You think you're here to rescue him? No, you're here to witness the truth. Clinton was weak. And you?" It pointed across straight at Toad's chest. "You're powerless." The shadows around them howled, feeding on the raptor's energy. Toad stood silent for a moment, his old claws trembling, his eyes stung with tears, not out of fear, but fury. Then he took a step forward, and another, until he was right in front of the creature that dared to wear your face. He looked up at it, not with fear, not with hate, but with a burning conviction. "You're wrong!" His voice was steady now, softer but undeniable. "You didn't make him weak. He was hurting because he cared, because he loved someone who changed, who scared him, and you took that pain and made it worse." Toad's eyes narrowed, and he pointed his own claw back, directly at the shadow beast. "But guess what? That love didn't die, even after what you did, even after you twisted his dreams and made him suffer. If he really gave in, he would have stayed gone, but there's still a part of him inside you. I can feel it." The creature twitched. "Oh. That's why you're still here talking to me. You could have crushed him, but you didn't, because you can't, because he's still fighting." And then Tail's voice rose, not in a scream this time, but in a fiery, shaking declaration. "You're not stronger than me. You're not stronger than us, because I don't fight with claws or shadows or fear. I fight with love, and that's something you'll never have." The ground beneath Tail's feet pulsed, this time not black, but green. A soft light shimmered under him, the same light that once glowed around your body. Tail snarled in retreat from it. The creature pulling in the distance backed away in confusion, and for just a split second, the evil watcher's grin faltered. "He's not yours," Tail growled. "I'm going to bring him back." Then he opened his arms to the light, shouting one name with everything in his heart. Yep, he just shouted my name. "Trenton!" I'm not going to try screaming that, obviously. And the light split outward, pushing back the darkness like a wave through a nightmare. Deep within the corrupted raptor, a flicker, a memory, a voice, and a feeling. Tail's words didn't just hit the monster, they hit you. And something inside began to start. What the frick? This is... Hold on, guys. Give me a second. Alright, guys, here's what it says. Right after this, the evil velociraptor just laughed and said, "You're so pathetic," before stopping the green energy completely. "There's nothing you can do. You can feel his energy from me because I look like him, you idiot. You can try all you want, but you'll never find him. And even if you did, he probably thinks you hate him now because of what I told him." The creative velociraptor howled with laughter, a deep, distorted, spine-chilling sound that echoed across the twisted, dying landscape. Shadowy Pokemon flinched in response, retreating into the dark crevices of the realm as if the laugh itself was toxic. "Aren't they on your side? What the freak?" "You're so pathetic," the creature hissed, stepping forward into the last traces of the green light still flicking beneath Totodle's feet. And then the green light blinked out, extinguished in an instant like a candle smoldered by ash. "You think that glow came from some bond?" It sneered, circling Totodle again. "It came from confusion. He felt something because I look like him, you idiot. That's all." It leaned down, its massive razor-sharp snout almost touching Totodle's forehead, its words venomous. "You'll never find him, because he's gone, lost in me, lost in fear. And if you did find what's left of him, he'd only look at you with hate." Its voice darkened even further, dropping to a whisper that still cut like blades. "Because I told him the truth, that you let him suffer, that you weren't there when he needed you, that the moment he reached out, you yelled at him." Totodle staggered back, his eyes wide, a tremble running through his body. "No, I didn't mean to." The raptor struck. "But he doesn't know that, does he?" Totodle's legs buckled and he collapsed to his knees, his heart thudding with guilt. For a moment, the shadow seemed to swell around the evil raptor like it was growing stronger just by watching Totodle break. The creature slowly extended a claw and pointed behind Totodle, toward the infinite black beyond the plateau. "Go ahead. Try to find him. See what's left." And then, with a voice low and cold, "I'll be waiting to watch you fail." It vanished in a sudden burst of black fire, leaving behind nothing but a chilling silence and a suffocating emptiness. Totodle sat in that silence, shoulders slumped, head bowed, claws clenched so tight they trembled. "I did yell at him," he whispered, voice breaking. "I was trying to help. I didn't know." He stared at the cold ground beneath him, tears dripping silently to the cracked stone. But then, a faint sound. Thump. Oh dear. Not loud, barely audible, but familiar. Thump, thump. Totodle's eyes widened. "That's a heartbeat!" And it was coming from deep below the plateau, beneath layers of rock and shadow. "Trenton?" Darkness said he was gone, but this sound said otherwise. Faint and fragile, but real. Totodle stood, wiping his tears, his claws still shaking, but now with purpose. "I'm not leaving you in the dark. Not ever." Without hesitation, he dove off the edge of the plateau, plunging into the depths of the cursed dimension, following the sound of your heartbeat. No matter how broken, no matter how lost, he would find you. This is creepy, dude. Like, this whole story just went from a nice family that was trying to take care of me to all of a sudden it going into this weird, like, evil-looking dimension with, like, an evil, creepy raptor. Alright, guys, give me a second. Guys, let's just say this is getting very creepy. Very creepy and very scary. Here's what happened. It says a few minutes after going off the plateau, Totodle landed hard on the ground and was hurt, but he quickly got up and What he saw was terrifying. The shadows in the deeper part of this realm was 1,000 times scarier than the ones above where he was. Horrifying shadow Lugias with glowing red eyes that stared and watched his every movement. A shadow Totodile looked a lot like him. Evil-looking shadow creatures of his other family members, his younger Totodile sister, the Cronall brothers and older sister, and even giant horrifying versions of the mother and father Feraligatr who didn't look friendly at all. At the very end was a shadow version of my pet dinosaur Rexy. Then, in the very center of the room at the far end, was a massive tree, which looked like my tiny raptor form with a very noticeable sad expression on its face. There's a hole carved into the bottom of the tree, and with a glowing red energy, and inside the energy was my tiny raptor form, not moving, and with my eyes closed. That is horrifying. What is going on? Turtle slammed into the lower level of the realm with a hard, bone-jarring thud. Ah! He cried out in pain, clutching his side as he rolled onto his back, wincing. Dust, if you could call it that in this realm, swirled like ash around him, but he didn't stay down long. Trenton, he groaned, standing back up despite the sting in his legs. He'd come too far. He wasn't stopping now. And then he looked up. His breath caught. The shadows down here weren't like the ones above. They were worse. Infinitely worse. The air felt heavier. Heavy with despair and ancient suffering. A choking pressure gripped his chest. Surrounding him were grotesque, twisted shadow beings, far more terrifying than before. Shadow Lugias hovered high above, monstrous silhouettes with wide, unfurling wings made of black flame and glowing red eyes that never blinked, tracking every twitch of his body. Directly in front of him, standing silent but poised like statues, were shadowy versions of his own family, a twisted shadow Totodile, his size, his shape, but with cracked, dry scales and soulless white eyes. It mirrored his movements like a possessed reflection. 4 crocodile brothers and a sister, all with jagged, misshapen teeth, snarling jaws twisted permanently in wide, unnatural grins. Their voices echoed softly, not words, just broken laughter. His little sister, his sweet little sibling, now a hollow-eyed shell, her tail dragging behind her like it weighed 1,000 pounds. She tilted her head too far, her eyes oozing black tears. Ooh! And looming at the edge of the clearing, 2 massive, horrifying forms emerged, his mother and father, but not truly them. These were giant shadow copies, their bodies towering over the others, claws sharper than swords, and eyes glowing crimson. The normally kind faces were twisted into deep, scowling sneers, dripping with accusation and rage. Toto stood there, frozen. His breath quickened, his claws trembled, but his eyes scanned past them all and landed on the far end of the space. That's when he saw you. There, in the very heart of this horrifying chamber, stood an enormous ancient tree, gnarled and cracked, shaped like your tiny velociraptor form, frozen in a permanent pose of sorrow. Your carved wooden eyes faced the earth. At the base of the tree was a hollowed-out opening, glowing with sickly red energy that pulsed like a heartbeat, slow, deep, and ominous. Inside the hole was your true form, curled up, eyes closed, unmoving. You looked so small, so peaceful, but you weren't asleep. You were trapped, held in status by the very roots of the nightmare tree, surrounded by shadow energy that oozed like blood from the bark. Charles stepped forward, mouth open, tears welling again. Trenton! The shadows around him stirred. The shadow Lugia shrieked above. The shadow versions of his family began to twitch and stutter like puppets on strings. And then, From the center, near the base of the tree, Retsy's shadow form stepped forward, huge, twisted, covered in jagged armor-like shadow plating, glowing red eyes, gigantic wings like a dragon, folded tight around his frame, and a low, guttural growl that made the ground tremble. He blocked the path to the tree, standing over the hole, his head lowering until his snout almost touched Toto. "Oh my gosh. Leave!" it growled, the voice a deep mix of Retsy's pain and the corruption's hate. "You have no place here, little nothing." Toto took a step back, his heart pounding, but he didn't run. He stared at Rexy, then he looked past him, at you, your form, crawling helpless, glowing red as the cursed tree fed on your pain. And softly, Toto whispered, "I found you." He closed his claws, "And I'm not leaving without you." Yeah, but what are you gonna do? You can't flip it past them. Give me a second. Okay, guys, this is getting darker and darker. It says the evil-looking shadow Rexy said, "Fine, you don't want to leave? Then I'll give you a reason to." Suddenly, the tree in the background changed. That sad expression on the Velociraptor's face changed to a very angry and scary-looking one. Then my tiny form in there began to shake violently, before out of nowhere, in front of the tree, a massive, angry, scary-looking version of me showed up. Then the shadow Rexy said, "Get him, Trenton." Oh, frick that. Toad's breath caught in his throat the moment the tree shifted. The peaceful, sorrowful expression carved into its velociraptor-shaped bark twisted, snarling, jaws opened wide in a silent roar. The entire tree groaned as red veins of energy pulsed through it like arteries, seeping into the earth and into the air. What's happening?" Tail whispered, stepping back. Then, inside the hollow where your small, unmoving form lay, your body began to tremble, not like someone waking up, like someone being forced to move. You shook violently, limbs twitching unnaturally, eyes still shut as if something inside you was screaming to be freed, while something else screamed louder to keep you trapped. That's when the voice came. "Fine," growled the shadow Rexy, his massive head lowering until he was nearly face to face with the trembling Toto. "You don't want to leave?" He backed away slowly, eyes narrowing into slits. "Then I'll give you a reason to." The ground in front of the tree split open, and from a flash of red, black, shadowy fire, a monstrous version of you emerged. It wasn't you. Not really, but it looked like you, only twisted and monstrous. A towering, terrifying velociraptor, maybe 10 feet tall, with cracked black scales, jagged claws dripping with crimson mist, and glowing eyes that flicked wildly between red and blue as if your true self was still somewhere inside fighting. His tail lashed behind it, snapping through the air like a whip. Spikes jutted from its back, its jaws, lined with too many teeth, open in a rage-fueled roar. Your silhouette, your shape, but not your soul. And then, from behind, the shadow Retsy's voice rang out, "Get him, Trenton." What the frick? The Raptor didn't hesitate. It let out a blood-curdling shriek and charged Toto, claws tearing into the dark earth as it sprinted forward, jaws wide, eyes locked onto him. Toto had no time to move. "Trenton, no!" "That's not me." He dove out of the way at the last second, the corrupted form swiping with one massive claw that slashed through the ground where Toad's had just been standing, throwing up sparks and shadow fire. Toto rolled, skidding to his feet, breathing hard. "You're not you! You're not you!" The corrupted you. I don't like that word that growled, head twitching unnatural like it was trying to respond, but couldn't. There was a struggle going on inside that monster. Somewhere deep inside, the real you was still fighting, buried under rage and sorrow. Toad's voice trembled as he backed away, dodging another charge.
I know you're in there, Triton. I know it's not your fault. Please, just listen to me.
But the corrupted form only screeched again, louder this time, more pained. The tree behind it glowed darker red. Oh, heck no. Shouted as he watched with quiet satisfaction, his voice low and cold. Let's see how long your little friend will last against you. The corrupted youth slammed the ground with both claws, launching into the air. Fangs bared, claws outstretched, coming straight down at Toto. Oh, no, 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 no. He had seconds to act, and maybe, just maybe, one last chance to reach the real you inside. Oh, heck no. Hold on, guys. Give me a second. Guys, weird things are happening right now. It says, while this was all going on, my body inside the tree started shaking violently again, but this time a sound did come out of my mouth. A loud screech of pain. Or suddenly the red energy from where I was stuck started fading and turning blue. Then suddenly, the tree's expression changed again, going back to a sad expression, but this time looking up at the Totodile with a tear coming out of my left eye. That's horrifying. As the monstrous version of you came crashing down, Tell braced himself, eyes clenched shut. But then, suddenly, yup, there's the screech. A screech, shrill, pained, and real, echoed through the dimension. Not from the corrupted version in front of him, but from within the tree. The corrupted velociraptor halted mid-attack, jerking unnaturally mid-air before crashing beside Totodile, its claws digging into the ground to stop its momentum. It shook its head violently, snarling in confusion, almost like it had just been yanked backward by something stronger. Okay, Totodile's eyes shot to the tree, and what he saw made his heart leap. Your true form, the real you crawled inside the base of the tree, was shaking again, but this time it wasn't forced. It was fighting. The crimson glow that had trapped you began to fade, like blood being washed away by fresh rain. It reached into the wood, dimming with each heartbeat. And then a scream from you, raw, real, and full of pain, and full of you. Toad's jaw dropped.
Trin?
The corrupted tree itself shuddered, its bark cracking as if in sorrow. And then, the face caught into it. Your face changed again. The monster snarl twisted and softened until it returned to that same heart-wrenching, sorrowful expression. But this time, it looked up, right at Totodile. And from its left eye, caught into the bark, a single glowing blue tear slipped free, trickling slowly down the wooden cheek. Totodile gasped. His own tears welled up.
You are still in there.
He stepped forward even as the corrupted velociraptor. Your shadow began to twitch, growl, and back away slightly, shaking its head as if something inside it was breaking. Totodile stared at the tree, voice shaking but clear.
Trenton, you're hurting. I know you are. But listen to me. You're not alone anymore. You've never been alone. You have me. My family. We're right here.
He took another step forward, closer to the tree in your corrupted form.
You're stronger than this place. Stronger than him. You always were.
Behind him, the Shadow's eyes narrowed as body tensed.
No. No, no, no!
He snarled, stomping forward.
He's mine! Don't listen to that pathetic little lizard! You belong to me!
Oh my gosh! A tear sliding from the tree's eye glowed brighter, turning into a thin streak of pure blue energy that flowed into the roots, causing veins of soft blue light to ripple through the bark. Your true form stirred again, and then your eyes twitched, still closed but reacting. The corrupted version of you shrieked in agony and confusion, clawing at its head, staggering back as if something inside was breaking loose. Toad dropped to his knees,
pressing his both claws to the earth. Please, Trenton, come back to me. The entire room shuddered, the shadows pulling back slightly as blue light began to pulse like a heartbeat through the tree, through you, and for the first time, the red began to retreat, the corruption began to crack, and the real you was finally fighting back. Finally fighting? I think we were trying to fight a while ago. Okay then. Guys, this story is getting more insane. It's just suddenly the blue glow got much brighter. The tree's expression changed again, going from a sad expression with a tear coming out of its eye to a very happy expression looking directly at Toadile. Then, without warning, a bright flush of light came from the tree, so bright that Toadile had to cover his eyes. When it faded, I stood right next to the tree, still a velociraptor, but now much bigger, at 20 feet tall. I looked over at Toadile and smiled, then walked over to him and nuzzled him with my giant snout. Toadile watched, breathless as the blue glow intensified, surging like a tidal wave of warmth, hope, and healing light. The ancient, sorrowful tree trembled once more, but this time it wasn't from pain. The bark shifted, softened, and brightened. The carved velociraptor face on the trunk began to smile, a wide, joyful, almost tearfully grateful smile. The once lonely, weeping eye now sparkled with brilliant blue energy as the expression lifted entirely, now gazing down at Toadile, not in despair, but in pure happiness. Then, a radiant blast of blue-white light exploded from the heart of the tree, engulfing the clearing in a wave of brightness so overwhelming that even the shadow beings above had to recoil in fear. Toadile cried out, shielding his eyes as the whole dimension trembled beneath the force of your light. Shadowed, he snarled, stumbling backward as cracks of blue lightning struck the ground around him, burning away the shadows he tried so desperately to feed. And then, the light faded, slowly and gently. The twisted realm dimmed from blood red to violet, then to gray, then to silence. And standing tall, proud and free, was you, not the helpless, trapped little raptor. Oh, I don't know about that. Why does your husband get? Not the monstrous shadow clone. You. A 20-foot tall velociraptor glowing faintly with soft blue lines pulsing beneath your scales like veins of starlight. The corruption was gone, burned away, replaced with the quiet power of your soul awakened and healed. You looked at Toadile. He looked up, stunned. His claws lowered slowly, his eyes filled with awe and disbelief, and most of all, relief. Trenton? Hey. You smiled. Then softly and lovingly you stepped forward. Your mouth just not lowering gently toward the stunned Toadile, who still trembled with everything he'd been through, and you nuzzled him. A deep, warm gesture full of gratitude, affection, and love, not just for saving you, but for believing in you when you couldn't believe in yourself. I didn't say I didn't do that. Toad choked back a sob and hugged your massive snout tightly, burying his face into your scales. You're back. You're really back. For the first time since entering this nightmare, Toadile smiled. Far behind, the shadow-corrupted version of you, now a pile of black ash, blew away in the wind. Charity was nowhere to be seen, and above, for the first time in what felt like forever, the sky began to turn blue. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, then. Alright, guys. Here's what happened. It says suddenly the entire dimension began to crack, the entire world fading into pitch black. Then, without warning, we were both landed back where all of Toadile's family was, except I was stuck again as a tiny velociraptor that still couldn't speak. I'm hoping that everything's still going a little bit longer than that, though. As you and Toadile embraced, warmth and peace finally blooming between you, the air around you shuddered. A deep echoing crack split across the sky. Then another. Then another. The entire nightmare dimension, the shadows, the tree, the creatures, even the cracked earth began to fracture like broken glass held under pressure. Wait, what's happening now?
Tail cried, still clinging to your snout, as the world around them started falling apart in shards of black and red. His glowing blue form looked down at him with calm, sad eyes. As cracks began to tear across her, body, your soft expression told him everything. This realm was never meant to hold your true light, and now that you had reclaimed it, it couldn't contain you anymore. What the frick? The world of shadows shattered, and then darkness, total silence, and suddenly, thump! Both you and Toto landed with a thud, soft grass beneath you, fresh air swirling around. Toto gasped and looked around, blinking in the sunlight filtering through green forest leaves. What? We're back! He exclaimed. Then his eyes snapped down to you. You were lying in the grass beside him. Small again, your body no longer glowing. Your 20-foot radiant form was gone. You were once more that tiny 7-inch velociraptor, curled, quiet, eyes open but unable to speak, just like when he first found you. Trin? Oh! Toe leaned over you gently, his voice soft but worried. He nuzzled your cheek with his snout, checking you over. You were warm, breathing, a little dazed, but safe. Just as he began to sigh in relief. Totodile! A flurry of footsteps started toward you both. Your eyes turned and saw his entire family rushing in. The 4 Chrono brothers, the Chrono sister, the little Totodile sister, and both with the towering mother and father for Alligator. Their faces were a mix of awe, worry, and overwhelmed joy. Baby, you're okay, cried the mother for Alligator, sweeping Toto up into a massive hug. Chrono's siblings crowded around both of you, and the littlest Toto gently scooped your tiny form into her arms, holding you like a fragile plush. She's so little again, she whispered, but he's breathing. Toto leaned into her side and gently touched her claw. He saved me. He saved himself, too. He's the strongest friend I ever had. Farfrager knelt down beside you, giving you a look of quiet respect. You came back. You made it out of the dark. And now, you're safe. Toto lowered himself beside you, carefully nuzzling your cheek again. I don't care what size you are, or if you can talk. You're still you, Trenton, and I'm still your friend. And just like that, you were surrounded by warmth, family, and light. You may have lost your towering size. You may still be cursing that tiny form. You may not be able to speak, but none of that mattered, because you were home, and this time you weren't alone. I wasn't alone to begin with. They found me to begin with, and flippin' took care of me the entire time. Okay, guys.